Hello students. So in today's class we are going to deal with the second chapter that we have completed successfully our first chapter. Now the second chapter, that is classification of elements and periodicity in properties. Isn't it? So here we are going to deal with some elements. Towards the end of the 18th and in the beginning of the 19th centuries, more and more elements began to be discovered and their individual properties and compounds had begun to be studied. Soon the need arose for classifying them so as to make their comparative study easier. Isn't it? So here pure chemicals are mainly of two types. They are elements and second one is compounds. So in the year 1800 only the known elements are 31. In 1865 the known elements are 63. Now nearly we are having 118 elements. In this 92 are natural and 26 are man-made. So here there are some reasons for the classification of elements. So why we have to classify the elements? So it helps in studying the elements in an organized manner. It helps in correlating the properties of elements with the fundamental properties of all states of matter, and it helps in defining the relationship of one element with another, isn't it? So it was the first scientist who known to be given some relation between three elements, that is called Dobereiner, which is known as the law of triads. Okay, he laid a law called law of triads. So here he has taken three elements, say for example x, y, z. So what he has said is, he was a German scientist and observed that certain elements displayed similar properties and they could be placed in groups of three elements each. So this group of three elements each were called triads. So here he has taken lithium, sodium, potassium, calcium, strontium, next one is barium, chlorine, bromine, iodine. So when he has choose these elements, so these three elements have same valency electron, and this also has same valency electron, and this also have same valency electron. So what he said is, in each triad, atomic weight and properties of a central atom is equal to the arithmetic mean of the remaining two elements. So this one is called a law of triad. So in another form, the atomic mass of the middle element of the triad was approximately equal to the arithmetic mean of the atomic masses of the other two elements of that triad. Say for example, here he has taken three elements. So if we take mean for first element and the last element, that is in 3, first one and second one, we are going to get the middle element mass. So how it is true? So here we are having a formula. So I have taken x, y, z, no. So y means middle atom. So y equal to x plus z by 2. So here in x place I have taken lithium. So sodium we have to find, that is y, and k means and in the place of Z I have taken potassium, that is atomic mass is 39, lithium mass is 7. So sodium we have to find sodium. So sodium equal to 7 plus 39 by 2. This is the arithmetic mean of these two elements. 7 plus 39, it is 46. So 46 by 2 is 23. So sodium atomic mass is 23. Understand children? So in the same way, for if you find for chlorine, bromine and iodine also, or calcium, strontium and barium also, we are going to get in the same way. For example, chlorine atomic mass is 35.5 and iodine atomic mass is 127. So 135.5 plus 127 by 2. Say look at here, 35.5 plus 127 by 2, we are going to get 162.5 by 2, that is 81.25. That means it is approximately equal to barium atomic mass. So this is about law of triad. And next law is laid by Newland's law of octaves. Oct means 8. Oct means 8. So here what he has said is, every eighth element of the same properties as the first element. That means so Newland law of octaves, what he has said is, every eighth element had the properties similar to the properties of the first element, just as the eighth note of the musical octave is the same as its first note. For example, in a musical note we are having sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa. Sa is the last one, and again when we start that musical note also, sa is the first one. So first and last, okay, first element and the eighth element. So the eighth element is the repetition of the first element in the physical and chemical properties. So that is the law of octave. So every eighth element had the property similar to the properties of the first element. So this is about Newland law of octaves. Next come to Mendeleev's. Okay, Mendeleev's laws. In Mendeleev's classification, what he has said is physical and chemical properties of the element are the periodic functions of their atomic weight. So physical and chemical properties of the elements. So one after one element have same periodic, same physical and chemical properties of their atomic weight. So what Mendeleev has done is, so in his period, whatever elements known at that time, he has placed all the elements on a wall, and according to the atomic mass he has arranged, isn't it? So he arranged elements in increasing order of their atomic weights. The elements are arranged in horizontal rows called periods. So like this horizontal rows we are having 7 periods. So just for rough work I have drawn here, and so horizontal rows are called periods and vertical columns are called groups. So in this periodic table 7 periods and 8 groups are present. In his periodic table 7 periods and 8 groups are present. Each group has 2 subgroups, that is A and B, and each long period contains 2 rows of elements. And one thing he has done is he left certain positions for some elements which are not known at that time. Understand, children? So he left some places for relating to the atomic mass. For example, first element having some atomic mass and third element having some atomic mass. That means in the between which is related to that. For example, first element, say for example 5, and next one is 8 is there. So between this 5 and 8 something should be there. Okay, either it is 6 or 7 atomic mass should be present. So in his view he has left some places for that. Understand, children? Yes. Next comes to Moseley's. Okay. So till now, Dobereiner, Newland and Mendeleev, they have talked only about atomic mass. So next scientist, Moseley, was the first person who talked about atomic number. So how he has got that idea, we are going to see now. So he bombarded different metals with cathode rays in cathode ray discharge tube. Then different frequencies of X-rays were emitted. So these frequencies of X-rays are based on their nuclear charge of an atom. So nuclear charge, so number of proton atoms, okay, number of protons present, that is number of protons and neutrons which are present in a nucleus, isn't it? So frequency of X-rays are based on nuclear charge of an atom. So how he has given is a mathematical relation, root over nu is directly proportional to Z. Root nu is directly proportional to Z. So I am taking this proportionality constant. Root nu equal to A, okay, into Z minus B. So here A and B are the constants and Z is the atomic number. So if you multiply with this, root over nu equal to AZ minus AB. So here he plot a graph between root nu and Z atomic number. So he got a straight line which is not possible through horizontal, means we won't get like this horizontal line, we are not getting, we are getting like a straight line. So from his experiment he strongly believed that atomic number is the fundamental property of element but not atomic weight, and this leads to a develop a new law which is called modern periodic law. So it was a Moseley who was first got an idea about atomic number. Before that all scientists have spoke about atomic mass, but he was a scientist who spoke about atomic number, isn't it? So what he said, the physical and chemical properties of the elements are the periodic functions of their atomic number. So who proposed this theory, children? Moseley. So Moseley laid this modern periodic law. Physical and chemical properties of the element are the periodic functions of their atomic number. So next we are going to see the long form of periodic table. So here in long form of periodic table, elements are arranged in increasing order of their atomic number. So before we have arranged increasing order of their atomic mass. So from here in long form of periodic table, elements are arranged in increasing order of their atomic number. From one element to the next element, atomic number differences is 1 unit. For example, hydrogen 1, helium 2, lithium 3, beryllium. Okay, hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like that we are arranging. Isn't it? So here also the elements are arranged in horizontal rows which are called periods or series. The vertical columns are called groups or families. So look at here children. So this is called the long form of periodic table of elements. So these are, what are these? These are groups, these are periods. Understand children? So it in groups, so first we talk about groups. So these are groups. So groups, it contains 18 groups. So look at here 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 18. So here these two 1A, 2A comes under this one. So these are designated as 1A, 2A, 3B, 4B, 5B, 6B, 7B, 8. Okay, 8 contains 3 groups. 8 contains 3 groups. Next 1B, 2B. Next 3A, 4A, 5A, 6A, 7A and these 0 group elements. So 0 group or 8A elements present in 8th group is the same as a Mendeleev's periodic table. So characteristics. So groups characteristics we are going to see now. So when we move from top to bottom, the atomic radius increases. The atomic radius increases. What do you mean by atomic radius children? The distance between the center of the nucleus to the outermost shell. For example, for hydrogen, it will be 1 orbit and for lithium, it will be 2. So atomic radius increases when we move from top to bottom. So all elements exhibit similar type of chemical properties because all are having same valence electron. For example, 1A. 1A means they are having valence electron 1. So hydrogen, for hydrogen 1, for lithium 1, for sodium 1, for potassium also 1. Next one 2A. So here they will be having the valency is 2. Isn't it? So the group number itself shows that it is having that many number of valency electrons. So atomic number differences between the adjacent elements are, adjacent element is 2, here it is 2, 2 plus 8, 10, 10 plus 8, 18, again 18 plus 18, 36, 36 plus 18, 54, 54 plus 32, okay, it is 86. That means the atomic number difference between the adjacent elements is 2, 8, 8, 18, 18, 32. Okay, 2, 8, 8, 18, 18, 32. So physical properties like melting point, boiling point, density, solubility, etc. follow some systematic order. So if we see the periods means like this. Okay, in a horizontal way. Vertical columns are called groups, horizontal rows are called, So the vertical columns are called group, the horizontal rows are called periods or series. So if we see, it contains 7 periods. See, look at here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Understand? So the number of elements in first period is here 1, 2. In second period, it contains 8. So that is why, so first period is called shortest. Okay, shortest period, and the second one it contains 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 elements. So it is called short period. And third period also contains 8 elements. It's also called short period. And fourth period contains 18. So it is a long period. And fifth period is also contains 18 elements, which is also called a long period. And sixth period is called 32. Okay, it contains 32 elements. Some of the elements will be present here that I am going to explain you later. So sixth group, which contains 32 elements, which is called longest period, and seventh period also it contains 32, which is incomplete. which is called incomplete period. So if we see the characteristics of a period, when we move from left to right, the atomic radius decreases. The atomic radius decreases. That means the number of shells will not increase. So the atomic radius will be decreases. The physical and chemical properties of elements are differ. Physical and chemical properties will be differ because some will be metal, some will be non-metal, some are metalloids. So when we move from left to right, non-metallic character, left to right, the non-metallic character increases and metallic character decreases. Understand, children? So look at here, I have written period number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and electrons. Okay, electrons enter into subshells. Which subshell they are going to be entered, and number of electrons and number of elements, how many elements are present. So in first period, that is 1s. How many electrons? 2. So how many elements? 2. In second period, 2s, 2p. Understand, children? So electron enters into which subshell? Subshell 2s, 2p. So here 2 in 2s is 2s2, 2p 6, no? So 2 plus 6, that is 8 elements. So total 8 electron, that total number of elements are 8. In third period, that is 3s, 3p. So 2 plus 6, 8. Again it are having 8 elements. And fourth period, 4s, 3d, 4p. So in 4s2, 3d 10, 4p 6. That is 2 plus 10 plus 6, 18. So 18 elements are present in fourth period. In fifth period, 5s, 4d, 5p. So 2, 10, 6. 2 plus 10, 10 plus 6, 18. 2 plus 10 plus 6 equal to 18. So 18 elements are present in fifth period. Come to the sixth period. In sixth period, 6s, 4f, 5d, 6p. So S means 2 electrons, F means 14, D means 10, P means 6. So total 32. So the number of elements are 32 in sixth period. In seventh period, that is 7s, 5f, 6d, 7p. 2 plus 14 plus 10 plus 6, that is 32. So if you add all these things so if you add this number of elements, 2 plus 8 plus 8, 18, 18, 32 plus 32, total 118 elements we got. So this consists of long form of periodic table. So in long form of periodic table, we are having 118 elements. So this is about today's class. In the next class, we are going to deal about electronic configuration in periods and groups, how it going to be changed and all. Okay children, thank you.